So you might have noticed, well, you should know by now, that since 2020 we have not had football supporters at stadiums. Although recently, late last year, the numbers or supporters were allowed by the government, about 2,000 of them, and we've seen them in some of the rugby matches. Football has not really implemented that. And now, last week, the EFF announced that they will be picketing outside the minister's office on Thursday this week to try and get the fans back into stadiums in football in South Africa. They've been backed by the National Football Supporters Association, and I'm joined by the acting CEO, Loyilane, on our Zoom line now. Sia, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, you had a meeting with the EFF yesterday to try and iron out some issues. Give us the nitty-gritties.
Good morning to the viewers. Good morning to all the football loyalists and the sports loyalists in the country. And thank you for affording me this opportunity. Yes, I would like to iron out some details from the National Football Supporters Association. We did meet with the EFF, in fact, on Saturday, after they had made the call regarding the logistics for Thursday. And everything is all systems go, irrespective of whatever discussions are being had in terms of the Minister of Sport. But the picketing will be going on because from the word go from last year, as the National Football Supporters Association, we did put it on record to say we are not happy with the number 2,000 that was proposed and gazetted. We therefore require that they stick to a minimum of 50% stadium capacity to allow the supporters into the stadium, because as you know, the media and other support in terms of what needs to be done in service providers makes up that number alone. And with the stadiums, 50% would make a lot of sense in terms of getting and gradually introducing the supporters back into the stadium. That's what.
Sorry to cut in there, Sia. Is this the last option? Is there nothing else that can be done? The talks between yourselves and the ministry to increase that number to at least 50% of a particular stadium. Have the talks not borne any fruit?
No, This is absolutely the last resort, because if you remember, we had come through to have an interview with you, and we did show our plans to say we have engaged with the Minister of Sports, because at the end of the day, government are the ones that are making the law in terms of how things should be done. And with us, our call is to say, open up the stadiums to sporting events and not just football alone. And I think this is the one thing in common that sport has now united behind and has had a conversation behind. We have written to the Office of the Presidency as well last year regarding this issue, in which they responded and redirected us to the Minister of Sports to say the Minister of Sport must engage and hear what we have to say. And we have been optimistic, and they have been actually quite non-responsive when it comes to the communication, which then leaves us with no resort but to actually take it to the street and to say we need to get back to the stadiums. It's been too long now, and the rest of the economy has actually been opened up, and sport is also contributing so much in terms of the economy, but they are always the last consideration when it comes to the food chain in the country.
Yeah. Sia, I don't know if the efforts to get the supporters back is putting it accurately. And the minister responded in a statement last week and said supporters are allowed to go to stadiums. And he's not wrong. It's just that right now there's a cap of 2,000. Should these efforts perhaps not be directed to Parktown, where the PSL offices are?
No. No, these efforts, because I believe that Parktown has also made its own presentations. The association as well has made its own presentation to say how we can gradually get back the supporters. And the number that has been put in place, we would like to know also the thought process that went into that number in terms of bringing in the football supporters. Because can you imagine bringing in 2,000 supporters into an FNB stadium, into a Soweto derby, because this needs to be coordinated to talk to the activities that actually take place in the stadium, the same way that it has been done with events and with indoor facilities. Why is then sport an exception and not associated with the rest of the guidelines that have been there to govern activities, to govern events, to govern everything that has been going on? And this seems to be precisely only talking to professional football and professional sport in the country.
So what's happening on Thursday? The logistics, are you going to be physically going there, marching or picketing, whatever it is? What's happening between you and the EFF?
Basically, all the political party, and as you know that sometimes in our country, the voice that gets heard the most is of politicians and of artists. And we feel like a sport, we're not taken seriously enough. And we welcome this initiative that has been taken, because these are stakeholders that we're also aligned with to be able to share the same vision. And we have seen how stadiums have been packed because it was just an event, but it was not a sporting event prior to building up to the election campaign. And Thursday, we will be at the Ministry of Sport offices as supporters. Supporters are actually traveling from throughout the country, and we have even had meetings with the different branch supporters. And this invitation for the picket is open to anyone and everyone that is impacted by sport and that is affected by sport in South Africa to come and join us as we demonstrate, as we air out our grievances, and as we hand over what our grievances are. Because the bottom line, what we want to achieve is that after Thursday, we should be having it in confirmation and in writing, and it should be gazetted somewhere to say, this is the date supporters are getting back to the stadium, because we even have Champions League games that are coming. We miss the song, we miss the interaction, and besides that as well, everyone has been so affected. We've engaged even SA taxis, because the taxis have also been affected. They've lost income with the trips they take for supporters to the stadium. So literally everyone is affected by this. As supporters, we will be gathering from 9 o'clock, but the official picket actually starts at 11 o'clock in front of the Ministry of Sports offices. And I believe Arts and Culture will also be joining in terms of this.
All right. Loyilane, the acting CEO of the National Football Association, thank you so much for your time. There you heard it, 9 o'clock. They'll be gathering this Thursday, picketing outside the Minister's office at 11 o'clock.